All right, Shane, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's good to see you again. I know it's been a while since our last session, but anything new going on in your life?
Uh, no, not really. I'd say just kind of more of the same, still have the same kind of concerns that we talked about last session.
Yeah, absolutely about having anxiety while driving.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Well, hopefully today we can start implementing some tools and maybe start dealing with that because I'd love to see you anxiety free on the road, right?
That sounds good.
Excellent. So first, I just want to ask, when you are anxious while driving, you already told me that you kind of have like sweaty palms, shortness of breath, rapid heart rate. Um, but when do these symptoms start?
Um, I'd say they start well, I definitely feel nervous like when I get into the car,
Mhm.
uh, and kind of get ready to start my drive. I would say like a lot of those physical symptoms kind of come about as I like start driving and I like get out onto the road and stuff, and
Sure.
uh, they definitely like increase with more stressful situations. So if I like getting on a highway or big
Mhm.
intersection or something like that, then they kind of increase. But I definitely
Yeah.
start feeling like that anxiety when I just kind of get in the car.
Yeah. And also because this stems from trauma that has happened whenever you were younger in the car crash that you experienced with your parents. Do you have any trouble um, telling that story or any anxiety when thinking back on it?
Um, Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not a fun memory, obviously, and it's
Yeah,
difficult to talk about. I definitely, feel you know, pretty emotional, like pretty like kind of just shaken up about it, I guess. Like
yeah,
uh, and even thinking about it can get me kind of nervous and uh, yeah, yeah. It's not a pleasant experience, remembering that.
absolutely. I could see why that is, and um, luckily that's why I've been thinking, and I kind of devised a plan, and I wanted to see how you think about it. Because I would really like this session to first lead off with a meditation activity that may be able to help whenever those symptoms come up. Um, but then I'd like to talk to you about prolonged exposure and maybe, signing you up for some prolonged exposure homework to hopefully reduce those symptoms as you start re-engaging with driving and eventually be able to own your story. How does that sound?
Sounds good. I don't really know what prolonged exposure means, but I assume that you'll explain more of that when we get there.
Oh yeah, you're precisely right. So I will explain that and we can dive right into it.
Okay, sounds
Excellent.
good.
Cool. So yeah, first I'd like to start with this meditation activity.
Okay.
So if you'd like to close your eyes or whatever makes you most comfortable, um, and I'd like you to start taking deep breaths in your nose and out your mouth. And as you're thinking about relaxing, um, what do you have a color that would be associated with calming or
Probably like dark green.
dark
Yeah,
green?
yeah, like a dark green.
All right. And I'd like you to really focus in on that dark green as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And If you could associate that dark green with any shape, what shape would that be?
Um, maybe like a triangle, and like
Triangle.
a sort of pyramid type shape.
Yeah, we'll go with a pyramid then. Um, and so imagine a dark green pyramid, and imagine this as a physical object that you could hold. All right. And you begin to hold your dark green pyramid. And how does the dark green pyramid feel?
Feels like stable and kind of like a strong confidence and like I don't know. It just feels like a sturdy, confident, like reassuring almost uh, type of thing.
All right. And I want you to imagine that that feeling is slowly being absorbed and taking over your whole body. That dark green pyramid is inside of you and a part of you. And I want you to have that stability and that confidence um, go through your entire body as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as it takes over, feel free to open your eyes. And how how do you feel now?
Um, Calmer
Mhm.
and more uh, like strong or confident.
Mhm. Do you think that prior to getting behind the wheel, um, maybe you could think about your dark green pyramid and do this exercise so that hopefully you are less stressed prior to getting behind the wheel?
Yeah, yeah, I don't see why not.
Excellent. And the shape can change, how it feels can change, and the color can change, but I do want it to be calming, and I do want you to focus on breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Um, Prior to getting behind the wheel, so that hopefully, you know, while you may not immediately feel less anxious once you hit the road, maybe it begins as a more calming experience. Um,
Okay.
and I feel like this could be utilized with the prolonged exposure that I brought up earlier. And you said that you did not know what that was. And um, so prolonged exposure is reintroducing you to those things or events that feel like you can't or that you don't want to do. So in the case of you not wanting to get behind the wheel, right? You have this anxiety about being behind the wheel and slowly exposing you to driving and reintroducing you to driving recreationally, because I know that you're still commuting to work. But the more that we can make that a regular experience, the more you may be desensitized. Um, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And you think the meditation exercise can just help with accomplishing that?
Not not necessarily alone, but I would like to give you some homework,
Okay,
if you're open to it.
sure.
Excellent. So you did disclose that the anxiety kind of starts right when you get behind the wheel, right? So long as you're comfortable with this, would you be open to a couple times a week getting behind the wheel of your car, and maybe sitting there and realizing that you do have that green pyramid within you and that things are okay, and slowly getting accompanied to being behind the wheel? You don't have to drive anywhere, but we can start by you climbing into the car and just getting used to being in that environment.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Yeah, because eventually, right, um, maybe we'll turn on the car and drive around the block or drive to a store, and we'll do that a couple times a week and eventually ramp up to the point where, that anxiety may not immediately go away, but hopefully will become less and less as you're on the road more and re-exposed to driving again. So this may take a few sessions, but if you're open to it, I'd really like to give you different homework assignments each session to expose you to driving again.
Okay. All right. That sounds good to me.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Um, so I know that we're short on time, but next session, I'd like to hear about your experiences with um, how it was sitting behind the wheel of your car and if it got any better throughout the week. If it did, then maybe we can start driving to the grocery store or some short trip that we plan together. Um, and also, I would like to talk more about your trauma experience, because another aspect of prolonged exposure is continuing to retell your story and hopefully learning to own it. Because while as much as I wish I could take that away, um, I feel like you could benefit from owning your story eventually. And so if we practice retelling and recalling those events in this safe space, um, hopefully you would be able to overcome and own your own story. How does that sound?
Okay. Like own it as in just like be able to talk about it without feeling like overwhelmed or
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
that's exactly it. And whenever you're comfortable too, we could include your close um, social circle, whoever you're comfortable disclosing this to, perhaps um, communicating this with friends or family once you're more comfortable with your story and you aren't so overwhelmed with that event that happened.
Mm, okay.
All right, does that sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, that works.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Shane. And before we wrap up, do you have any questions, concerns, comments?
Um no, I don't think so.
No?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you showing up again this week, Shane. It was good to reconnect with you. And I will be really interested in following up um, with how it is meditating behind the wheel of your car and seeing if you can reacclimate to that environment, because I know that it causes you a great deal of distress.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
That's right. One step at a time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Shane, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
All right. Thanks. You too.
Thank you.